story I heard out of the Philmont Scout Ranch in New Mexico in July of 1976, the bicentennial, 50 years ago today. Uh, we just come down Baldy Mountain, climbing it, and the boys had a snowball fight up there on the top of Baldy, and I heard this story. Said in the old days, there was a cowboy from Cimarron here. He'd gone over to Taos for a horse race. He had a really fast horse, and he thought he might win some money, and he might take some senoritas and, have a good time and dance a little bit. He went over there, and he had a 3-year-old horse, and its sire was a thoroughbred, and the mare was a Mustang, and he was fast. He called him Dusty. He was dapple gray. So he went over to Taos, and he raced in the horse race, and he won. And he had a pocket full of money, and he had a good time that night dancing with the girls. And the next day, he was headed back home. And it was a nice spring day, and a nice breeze coming from the south. And he was happy. I mean, he couldn't have been any happier. It's about a 10-hour ride, and in the afternoon, he noticed a little shift in the wind. The wind was coming from the south, but first it sped up, and then it shifted to the north. And he heard something rumble far away. And he looked up at way in the distance, there were storm clouds forming. And he thought, I'm not going to make it Cimarron before that thing hits. I need to find a place for shelter to spend the night, because all he had was a bedroll. He didn't carry a tent. And he said, where can I go? And then he remembered somebody told him about a ghost town up on the side of Baldy. It's called Baldy Town. When the gold ran out, everybody moved off and just left it. He said, there may be a building up there that I can get into. It was, because the storm's going to get bad. It may be even hail in it. So he laid the reins over Dusty's neck, and Dusty headed to the north. He could see Baldy in the distance there. And getting later on in the afternoon, the storm was getting closer. And we better move on, Dusty. Get up. And so he finally rode into town there, and all the buildings looked like they were falling down on the ground, except the saloon there still had one wall and an old swinging door there, hanging from one hinge, but that wouldn't do any good. Didn't have a roof. He looked up on the street, up the street there. There's one building still standing, and he rode nearer to it and had Undertaker written on the top of it there, in front of it. And so he tied Dusty up and went in to inspect it. And there's a table in there, and a chair, and against the back wall there's a coffin leaned up against the wall. He said, that makes sense. The Undertaker would have to have a coffin ready in case somebody got killed in a mining accident or killed in a gunfight in the saloon, But he said, this is going to do fine. Got a good roof on it. He went back out to get Dusty because he didn't want him to stay out either. And as he turned to go back to get Dusty, he took one step and he heard clunk behind him. Took another step, clunk, clunk. He turned back around, and that coffin was standing upright, and it was fluttering. Well, he took off. He ran through the door, and he slammed it behind him and jumped on Dusty. About that time, here come the coffin through the front door, just wham, knocked it out down on the sidewalk. And Dusty saw it too, and Dusty wasn't no slow horse, and more they lit out toward town. And they were riding along, and that coffin was keeping up with him. And he couldn't understand it. But he reached in his holster there and pulled out his Smith & Wesson 44, turned around, bam, 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 6 shots. And he heard 4 good solid hits. He said, if it just didn't slow down. So he put his reins in his teeth, and he dragged it across his leg and broke it open, flipped all the images out, reloaded it again real quick, strapped it to him, bam, 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 bam. He got 5 hits in him that time. But it kept coming. And as he was riding, and Dusty could see it too. He was moving. I'm telling you, that dog horse was moving. Well, during all that commotion, He wasn't watching where they were going. And he looked up, and there were cliffs on both sides of it. And looked up ahead, and he had written in the Box Canyon, there was no way out except the way he came, and he sure wasn't going back that way, because that Coffin was after him. Well, the only thing you do, he just rode as hard as fast as he could, right up to the edge of it. It was about this steep. And Dusty went up as far as he could, and he fell. He jumped off, and he was climbing his way up. And he was right behind me, turning right back, and he remembered he had the Hall's cough drop in his pocket, and he popped it in his mouth and stopped that coughing.